Ooh, hey there. I'm gonna go ahead and record video 3, even though my voice is terrible. I was gonna try to pretend like it was a different day and it was a different video, but then I was like, oh, wait a minute, my voice is gonna get annoying. Okay. Because I think what I want to try here in video 3 is I want you to watch the video and then do the Excel activity. See how that goes. Okay. Let's see. Share screen. So Excel 3 is about statistics, descriptive statistics. Now, even though the title of it is something else, using Excel functions. On page 60 in your book, that's where I just was here. It's got some formulas for you, okay? Because again, I don't want to do this for you, but I want to give you some guidance about how to get this accomplished. So these are important, these formulas right here. In general, if I have a list of numbers, hot dogs. Okay. I just love the word hot dog. It seems like a silly, fun word. So that's why I talk about hot dogs so much. I don't actually eat this many hot dogs. Okay, here we go. In general, if I want to do stuff, let's say I wanted to find the sum, and I wanted to find the average, and I wanted to find the I'm trying to think of something that's not something you're going to use. I don't want to ruin the fun for you. Standard deviation. I can always just start by putting equals and then the word, and Excel will tell me all of the things that start with SU. Now, if I click on that in the Mac, that gets me started, gives me the parentheses. On the PC, what you get is this. And that's not helpful because you can't start typing other stuff. If I start typing A2, then it doesn't know what's going on. So I need the parentheses. Okay. So yeah, here I'm going to go from A2 to A9, and that should, now I see the highlighting there. I can see everything's highlighted, so I'm in good shape, right? Average, boom, there it is, average. So you can always just try writing the formula, and if you go back and look at this, some of them, like median and mode and min and max, all start with the same word. Okay. So that's fine, and remember I can use my highlighting to do it instead. In some cases, if I write too far, I've missed the opportunity, because actually standard deviation is one of these, and there's actually multiple standard deviations. That's pretty confusing. So I'm going to use .s, and I'm going to do this again. Okay, so that's the first part. Is in this. Oops, sorry. In this sheet here, your first job is to just do all of these calculations. Now, a couple of points. This last 4 are more challenging. First of all, range is the maximum minus the minimum, right? It's in other words, it's the difference between the greatest value and the least value. So you can't just use equals range, because, gosh dang it, hold on, I gotta say hi to the student.
Hey, Mr. Biggin.
Don't leave, don't leave. Hold on, let me see.
You teaching somebody?
No, I'm in the middle of recording.
What's going on with you? How you doing? What's happening? Am I here? Okay. I will, because, you teach this summer?
Depends on like.
I need to take math this summer.
Let's talk about it. All right. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. I'm a student. I hadn't seen since last semester, so. Where was I? Okay, you can't just type equals range and do this. What Excel says. What? I don't know the name of that thing. Right? Okay. So you have to calculate it, taking the maximum and subtracting the minimum. Remember that I can do math in Excel. Say I have two numbers, 23 and 45. If I want to multiply them, I just say equals this number times this number. That's all I have to do. Okay? That's my hint about range. Now, the percentiles are more difficult, right? So, first of all, let me kind of say what percentile is. Percentile is a number which tells you where that number falls in the population if everyone was lined up from least to greatest. Okay, let me change that. Wrap text, emergent center, wrap text. Okay. Let's move this stuff out of the way. So what I mean is, if I line these guys up from least to greatest, I'm going to go over here to sort. The greatest is 12, the least is 2. This example is not going to be great, but basically the 50th percentile means the number that 50% of the population is below. So in this case, since I have 8 different numbers, the number in the middle are these two numbers, right? So I would probably, the percentile here, the 50th percentile should be 4.5. Let's find out. So the way I calculate percentile is equals percentile. Now there's a bunch of different ones that I can use. I'm going to use percentile inclusive. Let's see how that works. I do not want D12. I want to do my numbers from here to here. Now, you have to give it another value, which is the percentile value, but you got to give it as a decimal, so 0.5. And there it is, 0.5, which is what I expected. The 10th percentile is not as easy to see, right? So that's why we want Excel to calculate it for us. But basically, it says, let me calculate it, and then I'll put it into a sentence. So it's percentile. Oh, wait a minute. I think 10th percentile is actually 1 year. Good 2 weeks. I don't want to do it for you because I don't want to steal your fun. Let's say 90th percentile. Okay, so equals percentile. We'll do .inc, and then we'll go again from A2 to A9. Enter. Okay, it doesn't like that because I didn't tell it what percent to do, so I do comma 0.9 because 0.9 is 90%. Okay, so 10.6. So what that means is 90% of the population should be below 10.6. Now, if I wanted to make it more realistically about the context, I would say on 90% of the days, Ben ate less than 10.6 hot dogs. The most common places you see percentile are doctor's office and schools, because they say, oh, your kid ranks in the 75th percentile, or your child ranks in the 5th percentile of weight or something like that, which means the child is very small for his age, because only 5% of the population is below his weight. Okay, which means 95% of the population is more than his weight. Okay. So that's the basics of Excel 3. And let me go back here and make sure we've done all of that. Good. Now let me explain what this is about, because sometimes students get confused. This is a student. These scores are supposed to be the scores for one student, and they are percentages. So you can read it like this. On the first assignment, the student got a 32%. On the second assignment, they got a 56%. On the third assignment, they got an 89%. So they started off bad, but they're doing better, right? But then on the fourth assignment, they got a 15%. And then on the fifth assignment, they got 100%. These are homework scores. So with that in mind, now, there were 14 of these, which is a reflection that the course used to have a lot more homework assignments than it does now. So be glad about that. Now, in our class, there are 28 assignments. It's not true anymore. There's only 16 assignments, I think. How has the student done keeping up with their homework in the first half of the class? So what you see are their homework assignments for homework number 1, homework number 2, homework number 3, homework number 4, etc. And you're trying to generalize. How have they done? Well, they're all over the place, right? They got a 15, they got 100, da-da-da. This is what descriptive statistics is about. It's a way to say, yeah, the student's doing all right, or the students are really not doing very well. Even though they got 100 on one assignment, in general, they're not doing that great. And then I want you to predict, do you think they're likely to succeed based only on their homework scores? And again, when you're asked that kind of question, you should put in a why. Why do you think that? And then what is your current homework score? So you need to go to Ivy Learn. You need to look at your grades. If you haven't looked at your grades yet, we're deep enough into this semester where, face the music and see how you're doing. If you're not doing well, if you're not keeping up with the homework, that doesn't mean you're going to fail, but it's not a good sign. And so, what needs to change? What can we do to help you be successful? Okay, that's Excel number 3. Save it, submit it, bada boom, bada bing. All right. Talk to you later.